heck was all that for? Why did you come out of nowhere and spill red wine all over me? And I had just bought this brand new dress for the wedding today. Shut up! You are useless to us. You happen to be an eyesore to me, so I had no choice but to pour my wine on you. And you shouldn't even be here in the first place. Huh? But I did just as you asked and brought the things you wanted, right? You told me right in the middle of the wedding that you wanted me to go out and get some cigarettes, and so I did. And I only just got back from the nearest gas station I could find. Well, you came back way too soon. I was hoping you would be gone for a bit longer. What are you talking about? You are always getting on me about hurrying up and getting what you ask for. And also, today is the day of the very important CEO's wedding. I thought it would be wrong of me to be away from my seat for too long, so I made sure to go as quickly as I could to get you those cigarettes. And why do you think I had to leave the wedding for a little bit? I was trying to make sure there'd be one less rival during the bouquet toss. But now that you're already back, there was no point in me sending you out at all. Huh? For the bouquet toss? Wait, you're telling me you're trying to catch the bouquet today? Of course I am! This year I'll be turning 34 years old. And so before I turn into a lonely woman, I have to make sure that I find myself a man to marry. So that's why today I'm making sure that I'll be the one to catch that bouquet. And it's not going to be just any old bouquet, but one being tossed by the CEO's wife herself. So grabbing that will definitely bring me the luck to find the man of my dreams this year. And so it's for that reason you decided to get wine all over my new dress? Well, this is a very important moment in my life. This is the wedding of my CEO, and so everything that happens today is huge for me. And not only are all the employees from the company here, but so are all of the company's customers and such. Even the younger CEOs from other companies that I'm aiming at getting lucky with. So I have to make sure that I show off to all of them by catching that bouquet right in front of their very eyes. So that's what you want, huh? The main guy I'm looking at is the young CEO of the company Green Life that we just started doing business with. Last time when I first saw him come into the offices, my heart started racing for him. Oh, I just knew that I had to see what it'd be like to be married to him. Huh? Marry? So that's why today, once I've caught that bouquet, I'll get far closer to him. I'm sure he'll see it all happen, and then I'll look over at him and start my plan of talking to him. As long as I can get him to notice and talk to me, then he'll be all mine. And since I'm a strong adult woman, a younger man like him would love to become married to me. And so that's the whole point of you trying to take out the competition? But I'm sorry to say, you tossing wine all over me is not something that I'll let you get away with. If you really wanted me to be out of the bouquet toss, you should have just come and talked to me about it face to face like a real adult. Shut up, you useless woman! Ever since this wedding had started, I could tell just how much of a problem you'd become for me. Even though you are lower than me in the company, you looked around like you were better. But I'm not going to let you think that you can have that young CEO instead of me. Huh? Ever since the start of this wedding, that young man has been watching me a lot. At first, I thought he was starting to become interested in me, but then I got the feeling that he was looking at you instead. Is that so? I guess I never really noticed him looking at me, ever. Well, that's because you're still young and naive. Not only can you never get anything you're asked to do done right, but even when asked to go out and buy me some cigarettes, you did it too quickly. If you happen to grab the attention of my young man from me again, I'm going to reduce your pay. What? There is no way you could get away with something like that. And I'm telling you that I'm not trying to get with that man. Then, if you want me to trust you, go ahead and leave this wedding. Especially now that you're all covered in red wine, there's no point in you sticking around and ruining the vibe of this wedding. A useless girl like you needs to go home. Having a disgusting subordinate like you head home is not a problem at all for the rest of us. You better not mean any of that, you old hag. Huh? Whoops. I accidentally happened to use a not-so-nice word to describe you there. But even using that word hasn't subsided any of my anger. I suppose I really am at my limit with you then. I can see that recently you've been a bit rude with how you've gone about things around me. But to think that on a day as important as this you'd stoop so low? I can't believe you think you have the right to toss me out of my own dad's wedding. Huh? Your own dad? Today is the wedding of the CEO of the company I work for. But that also means that today is the day of my dad's wedding. I had been so looking forward to this day and everything. But now you've gone and ruined that for me. Huh? Wait just a second. What do you mean by your dad's wedding? Are you actually the daughter of this company's CEO? Yes, I am his actual daughter. When I was born, my mom ended up passing away during the birth. And ever since then, my dad was a single father, making sure to do anything he could to raise me well. I'm sure that having to run a huge company while caring for me was a tough task for him to accomplish. But thankfully, after all of that, he has finally come around to finding another woman to marry. And as his only child, I was looking forward to being able to celebrate that for him. But because of you, Ruth, everything is ruined. You're lying, right? I never heard from anyone that you were the CEO's daughter. Well, my dad told a lot of the top-level people to never say anything about it and just let me do my job like everyone else. After all, being known as the daughter of the CEO would have created a lot of unnecessary stress. So from a young age, it was made sure that I was raised with the best education. But I made sure that all I wanted was a job working here, and to be treated the same as everyone else for the time being. Are you serious then? So I please ask that even though you know about me being his daughter now, that you keep it a secret from everyone else. If you can do that for me, then I'll keep you spilling wine all over me a secret between us. Wait, really? Don't get the wrong idea about this, okay? This is all to make sure that my dad's wedding is not ruined today. If everyone had to learn that the daughter of the CEO had wine intentionally spilled all over her, it would make this one of the worst days of my dad's life. All I have to do is get myself into a new dress. Now, I'm going to get myself a new dress to change into, and since that will take me some time, I won't be able to take part in the bouquet toss. So go on ahead and try with all your might to grab that bouquet. Hey, Luna. If you have the time, what do you think about getting lunch together today? I actually have a restaurant that I'd really like to go and eat at. Why are you asking me that out of nowhere? You had never once invited me out to lunch before. And where did calling me a useless subordinate go? Oh, come on now. Since when did I ever call you a useless subordinate, Luna? I would never call someone as important as my coworker something like that. Huh? Well, once you've finished up whatever work you have this morning, give me a call or text. I'll do my best to match my timing with you and we can both go out to eat. But I wonder if the restaurant that I want to go to will be okay. It's going to be one of those general lunch places that everyone goes to for lunch during work, so that doesn't seem fit for the CEO's daughter. I really want to know what's going on here. If you're trying to get on my good side now, you're too late. Just because of that wedding, that doesn't mean everything you did to me in the past is just gone and disappeared. What? Oh, I'm not trying to get on your good side. I just want you and I to have a little time together since I'm your boss. Well then, if that's the case, I'd rather us not worry about any of that. And anyway, I'm already eating my lunch as we speak. Huh? Oh, is that right? Then I guess I'll take my lunch now and come see you. Can you tell me where you're eating right now? No, thank you. I don't want you here. Well, if you're going to be that cold, I'll tell you the truth. I actually have something I'd like to talk with you about. I have a small problem going on, and leaving it as is will make it hard for me to focus on my work. And so I'd like to talk to a splendid subordinate like you about everything that's bothering me. You have a problem? If I'm not able to do my best with my work here by focusing on my tasks at hand, then this company could run into some problems as well, right? And that would lead to your daddy becoming very sad by the state of his company. As the daughter of the CEO and being my subordinate, I'd like for you to listen to me. Well, if that's all you want, then tell me right now. Because I am not interested in having lunch together with you. Come on! You're being too stubborn, Luna! I'm just asking for you to hear me out about a couple of things. But if you say you'll listen right now, I guess that'll do. What I want to ask from you is that you become my Cupid to help me with my love. Huh? And what does that mean? I'd like for you to help me become even closer with the young CEO of Green Life. I ended up never catching that bouquet at the wedding last week, and so I never had a chance to get close to him then. But if it were to happen that the daughter of this company's CEO became a friend of mine, then I might have a chance. So, to make sure that him and I can become a couple, come and help me. At that wedding for your dad last week, him and that young CEO seemed to get along with one another really well. So there's no way, as his daughter, you can't help me get closer to that guy. So I'd like to ask that, using your influence, you help introduce me to a man like him. And in that way, you'll be helping me get married to him. I will not help you in any way with that. What? If you had some issue related to work, I wouldn't mind helping, but I have no interest in your private life. You are free to be upset about whatever it is that happens at home, but when you are in the office, you should be focused on your work at hand. Hey, hold on, Luna. What do you think you're doing saying no to your boss's request? With what you had just been asking from me, there was no relation to us being boss and subordinate. Huh? You stop right there. I am asking for your hand in all of this, so don't think you can talk back to me. I don't care that you are the CEO's daughter. You cannot speak to me that way. I'm not acting this way because I'm his daughter, though. You are! You are acting like a stuck-up jerk right now because of your status. Listen, even if you are the daughter of the man that runs this company, you are still my subordinate and I can ask what I want from you. And I'm sure you understand that you must always do what your boss asks from you. If you don't want me to go back to the days of me calling you useless, then you'd better listen to me. I want you to use your influence as the CEO's daughter to make sure that I meet the love of my life and marry him.
Even if she were to show you to me, I'd never go out with someone like you.
Huh?
I wonder who is really abusing their status right now. You're the one using your position as boss to ask your subordinate to help you with a personal issue outside the company. As her older brother, I will not let you keep doing this to Luna.
Oh, older brother, huh? You're Luna's older brother, then? In other words, you're the son of the CEO, then? But Luna said she was an only child.
I am also the CEO of Green Life, Jackson. Thank you so much for attending my father's wedding last week. And I also want to thank you for looking after my sister as she began working within that company.
What? So you're the young CEO from Green Life?
And for whatever reason, I can see that you are really interested in me. But I'm sorry, I will never be going out with you in any way.
Huh?
I'm not really fond of people that call my sister a useless subordinate, as well as doing other unjust things as she's trying to get her work done.
Wait a minute, Jackson. I think you misunderstood. That was just me talking to her on a more personal level. To me, Luna is a very important subordinate, and so I had to keep her in line.
Huh. So you spoke to her like that on a personal level then?
Also, you and I have never had the chance to talk to one another in person yet, have we? So please don't say you're not fond of me until you see who I really am. I'm sure that if you and I went out to eat together, you'd learn to take back what you said.
You have a lot of confidence in yourself, don't you?
I've been told a lot that I'm a really good-looking woman for being in my 30s. And so I'm sure that someone as young and fit as you would fall in love with me as well. And also, during your dad's wedding last week, you were looking at me over and over again, right? I know that you felt a little something for me back then, didn't you?
Back then, I was not looking at you all those times. I was just looking at my younger sister all those times. So don't think I had any feelings for you back then.
Huh?
I happen to talk with my sister about her job quite a lot. She always comes to me asking for help with things like the relationship she has with you. Always telling me things aren't going well. And about you calling her useless, that you gave her crappy jobs to work on. And when she would help you finish up a project, you would end up blaming her for any mistakes that there might have been. You really do check out as a type of woman with that toxic attitude.
That all never happened between us. I believe that maybe Luna is just a little confused about things here. I'm not the kind of boss to bully any of my subordinates like that, Jackson.
Well, if that happens to be the case, I'd like for you to stop thinking about dating me and to never bother my sister with anything besides work ever again. And when it comes to the work you give her, make sure it's the work she's supposed to do and nothing else. Now I'll be going. I just finished up having a great lunch with Luna and have to get back to business myself.
Wait, what have you done? Now it looks like that young man hates me. And why did you have to tell him about all the relationship we had in the past? I didn't do anything wrong, though. I just happened to ask for his advice when dealing with you. And it's the truth that you always called me useless and would always get upset with me for mistakes I made doing your own job. Shut up already. You're still my subordinate and you have no right talking back to me like that. All right? Go and talk to him about how you messed up and lied about what you said about me. Tell him that I'm an amazing boss and woman so that he'll start to like me again. If you don't do that, then I'll have you fired. Huh? Fire me? It doesn't matter if you're the daughter of the CEO or not. After all, nobody else knows that about you anyway. And so when you're someone that everyone couldn't care less about, being fired is not a big deal. And if you're so upset about the way I've been treating you, allow me to end it all for you. I have to ask, how many people have you fired already for not doing as you liked? I'm sorry, Ruth, but you're not going to be able to get away with that anymore. Huh? Oh. I've already heard about this stuff from some other employees. About how anyone that works under you always either gets fired or quits within a couple months of being your subordinate. But with the company becoming more interested in what's going on with your department, your best bet is to run. What are you even talking about? Don't act as though I have some sort of pleasure in firing those that work for me. But that could be just the case, right? You always try and force people to make mistakes and then criticize the hell out of them for it. And so when you've had enough picking on them, you end up firing them and moving on to the next victim, right? And if you try and dig your way out of this one, I've made sure to collect all the evidence I need. What evidence? When talking further with some of those other co-workers and employees, they made sure to tell me everything about what's been going on with you. But I am not going to forgive you for being compliant within my dad's company. Hence the reason I always put up with the way you called me names and forced me into tough positions. And after doing that for a while now, I was able to get all I needed to make sure that you never get away with it again. But what kind of evidence could you have? You've already made the choice to be fired by me, so nobody in the higher-up positions will listen to you. And I'm sure that evidence isn't anything anyway. Nobody has been fired or quit yet, so there's still lots of ears ready to listen. Ah, and did I tell you I spoke with those that you ended up firing before? They all gave me lots of juicy evidence when it comes to the things you did to them. What did you say? I can't believe I was able to get all this evidence on you because I'm sure with the way things were going between you and I, you would have really ruined the image of this company. So I've now come to the conclusion that the only way to end all of this within your department is to have you fired. Wait a minute, Luna. What do you mean, have me fired? I'm one of the big players within this company. I'm the one that puts in the effort for a lot of sales and everything that has to do with selling to customers. But you always ended up handing off your work to your subordinates, so perhaps they were the ones really making things work for the company. And all I've gathered as evidence, I'll bring to HR and have them think about you. And of course, I'll also be letting my dad know about this as well. I'll even make sure to ask him to have you let go of as soon as possible. You're lying, right? You know very well that all the things you've been doing within the company was not okay. So please hurry up and start preparing your things in that office for when the time comes you have to leave. I'm sure that by next week the decision will be made. You can't just do this to me. Why do I have to be the one to leave this company? All I did was get rid of the subordinates that I couldn't use. Actually, if anything, it's because of them always making mistakes that I had to put in more work to correct them all. You should be thankful that I did all of that. You really are self-centered about everything. Even after being exposed like this, you're trying to make it seem as though you did the right thing all those times? I might have to show my brother all of this evidence as well later on. Huh? I'm assuming that this will all require you to step into my dad's office at some point to explain yourself, so enjoy that time with him one-on-one and say whatever reasons you'd like. That would be the perfect chance for you to ask if you can marry his son. I'm sure that would be your last chance to get closer to my brother. You think that I could talk about your brother like that now? Well, I'm going to get back to work now. I assume that I'll have a lot more work to do now that you've lost even more focus. And I still have a bunch of your work from this morning to finish. I was able to have a delicious lunch with my brother at least, so maybe that'll help me make less mistakes. And just after that, Ruth was called up to my dad's office where she was told to never come back to the office ever again. And when the company made their final decision the following week, she had to come back in and explain everything while she cried. But my father ended up telling me that after having to come in and explain herself to all the higher-ups, she burst out saying that I was the perfect subordinate. She then followed up by saying that she was so proud to be my boss and asked that they please let her continue her work with me. And of course, my father and everyone agreed with her, saying that I was the best. But then they continued to fire her, and she had to leave the offices for good. But that wasn't the end for her, as all those old employees she fired came back to fight her in court for firing them without reason. And so now, Ruth is having to go from hearing to hearing, paying one upset ex-subordinate after another for her mistakes.